AITA for not paying to eat out when my GF initially offered to celebrate my promotion? I, 27M, have been with my girlfriend, 24F, for around 4 months. I earn considerably more than her, and she has previously been open in saying her wages do not cover her bills, monthly outgoings. I've preferred to keep my finances private to this point. I very recently got a promotion and she wanted to celebrate and take me out for a meal. On the day, however, she said she could not afford this, so I suggested I would get takeout and come to her place instead. She immediately said she was upset, as I earn over double what she does, and felt I should be more forthcoming and want to pay at this stage in the relationship. I acknowledged this and highlighted I had more outgoings than usual this month for various reasons, and I couldn't afford it either. I get to her place and we had an argument. Her perspective is that I know her wages aren't sufficient to pay her bills, yet I still allow her to pay for things. We've been equal in the relationship so far, paying for activities, meals out, etc. She felt I should be paying out more as my base wage is significantly higher. She kept saying she doesn't expect me to pay for everything, yet she was coming across this way and by saying it's the gentleman thing to do. My perspective is that I don't have much disposable income either, but would have paid for more if I could. I felt upset that once she found out my annual income, her first thought was not to our future, as she had a problem with what I was spending previously. She said, "Why would you allow me to spend that money if you knew I was struggling and you earn much more?" Quote. I feel that she came across as entitled. Ultimately, it's my money and decide how I spend it. I bit my tongue and focused on resolution, as up until this point, the relationship had been going really well. But now I'm concerned she will have different expectations going forward. AITA for not paying, being more open to offering due to her circumstances, or am I right in thinking she's entitled as expecting me to pay more? Summary. AITA for not being willing to contribute more financially in this relationship? NTA. Go find someone who doesn't want your money, bro. 4 months in and arguing over finances? Massive red flag, homeboy. Luckily, you've only wasted 4 months on her. Seriously. 4 months and she thinks she's entitled to your money? And what's with all the sexist nonsense about the man pays for everything? If her pay doesn't cover her bills, then she needs to start living within her means, not ask you to subsidize her. NTA. NTA. I'm not sure why your finances were discussed 4 months into the relationship. My husband made more than me when we got together, but I only knew that based on the type of work he did versus the try of work I did. We never outright expressed numbers, since that wasn't really our business. Also, even if you weren't in a relationship, her wages still don't cover her bills. So your relationship isn't the factor here. It was already an issue she had 4 months ago. I'm not sure what you both consider this stage of the relationship, but I would consider that still a very new stage, and I'm not sure that money should already be discussed and causing arguments. Thanks for the comments all. I appreciate your time reading into it. It's definitely been a red flag for me, and I've had some time to cool off. For a bit more context, this is the only relationship in a long while where I thought it could go somewhere, and have been excited for the future with her. But this conversation 4 months in just signals a lot more potential aggro down the line. Our vibes been off since. This all came up after she realized how much I'd earn with my promotion a week ago today. And we've tried to arrange meeting up different times this week, however she's cancelled. She's coming to mine tonight, and I'll be bringing up my feelings and ascertaining where she stands, to decide whether it's worth continuing the relationship or not. NTA. The audacity of her to get mad that you won't take her out for your promotion after she offered is insane. From this post alone, kind of sounds like she's into you for your money, since she's getting mad when you won't spend it on her. My husband makes $35,000 per year more than I do. Granted, he does have more personal bills to cover, but we still split equally. We're very open with our budgets and don't make each other pay for anything we don't want to. Feel comfortable with. I wouldn't expect him to pick up the tab because he makes more money. It's the 21st century. Info. Who is leading when it comes to choosing places to spend money on dates? Equal shares make sense if things are affordable and equally compelling to both parties. But if you're choosing expensive places or activities, I think the one suggesting should pay more. To give an example, say there's a concert you want to attend and want her to come with you. In this case, I think you should pay for both tickets because she likely wouldn't go on her own. Splitting evenly doesn't make sense because it wasn't her idea. Doing that would be like paying you to take her. If the band is one you both love and you'd both go, split the cost. In the case you have mentioned in your post, it was her idea to treat you for your promotion, meaning she should cover the cost. However, you knew she couldn't afford that, and she knew you knew that. Then she ultimately gave up when you weren't taking her hint. So, something is up with her. I don't know if she's a gold digger, like others are saying, but she is definitely feeling put upon in some way and not communicating her expectations with you. Enough. Y'all need to talk this out. Voice your expectations for each other. My boyfriend makes twice what I make. I do earn enough to make ends meet, save a bit, and have some spending money. I also budget every single dollar I earn and have very little waste. Anyway, I never go do anything with him where I am not prepared to pay. He does, in fact, pay more often than I do. Probably 2/3 of the time he pays. But if I've used my spending money for the month, I tell him, let's eat in. I hit my budget limit. Sometimes he says, cool, we'll cook at home. Sometimes we go out anyway and he pays. The point is, she is not entitled to your money and should not expect you to pay. I am in it for the long haul with my BF. We've been together for a while and I still don't expect him to pay for me. If she isn't making enough to pay her bills, she needs to budget better and look at her job situation. There are a gazillion places hiring right now. She could find a better paying FT job or find something PT for a few extra hours a week. Drive for Uber Eats on her off days. The possibilities are endless. You could tell her you have XX amount of fun money for the month, and after you've hit that amount, y'all are doing free things and eating at home, or she can pay. NTA. Run. Clearly NTA. However, I see a lot of people mention that she's a gold digger and that this should be the end of the relationship. To me, it depends on if she's the one who is pushing for a more lavish lifestyle in general or if this is an isolated event. Sometimes the partner who makes more is not aware of the fact that he makes the other person's life more costly. If you then continue to split everything evenly, it warrants a conversation. A significantly wealthier partner will inevitably either not lead a lifestyle according to his own income, but will be able to save a lot more, or will have to sometimes make a gesture to the other partner. If you split everything evenly and are going to dinner, getting takeout 3 times a week, that may financially be perfectly healthy for you, but put a strain on her. She might be ashamed to admit this. If she's given you several hints about this, she says her wage doesn't cover her monthly expenses. Was this prior to getting together with you? Then she might find it extra painful that you didn't understand that she can't keep up. If this was an isolated event, her reaction might have been caused by shame for not being able to take you out for a promotion. When the day came and her secretly hoping that you would take that burden away from her so the evening could still have a festive ending, that would still make her misguided, but at least well-intentioned. If she's the one pushing for a more lavish lifestyle, I would be very careful. I actually disagree with many of those who have said that she's only interested in the money. It seems that people are ignoring the emotional side to someone on what sounds like a severe budget, trying their hardest to keep up with someone who can afford more. Albeit, as you say, not extravagant luxury. This seems like more of a reaction similar to someone carrying a backpack that is of equal weight to another, despite being physically much smaller, to the point where the backpack is actually actively hurting the one person, while the other carries it with general ease. In this case, if the weight will remain the same, then maybe sharing the weight proportionally would be more equitable. This is regardless of gender. She seems to have been upfront with her financials, while you have hidden yours from her. It seems that, by doing that, you are being disingenuous, and that seems to be why she's hurt. This seems to be a trust thing, not a money thing. She trusted you with her financials, even though many would find it embarrassing to show that they're barely getting by. And although you may have tried to be chivalrous and not rub it in her face that you make more than her by not taking up more of the slack, you've actually done the opposite and out her though additional stress trying to maintain the relationship you have. She's giving more than you to the relationship, proportionally, and acknowledging that this is a complex environment where she might want to do so even if she had known your means from the beginning. For pride and self-sufficiency sake. NTA. When I don't have money to spend on taking someone out, I make a meal or bake a cake. There are other ways to celebrate a promotion. Your GF is way out of line. NTA, and you need to consider your relationship carefully. She offers to buy you a meal in celebration and then gets mad when you don't pay for it. She admitted that she spends more than she makes, and her solution is for you to spend more even when you say you can't afford it. It sounds like she is wanting you to help her financially, but it doesn't seem like you believe you are at a stage in your relationship where that is appropriate. As the breadwinner in my relationship, I would never let my spouse pay for something I knew he couldn't afford. I would also never expect him to pick up the dinner check unless I had already handed him cash to do so, especially if I had just brought home extra money. As the wife in the relationship, I would not pressure him to spend anything on me that would strain his finances either. But I wouldn't let him struggle and just watch. You both suck. Emo. Info. Do you expect the same level of entertainment cost from her that you are expending? What I mean, if she makes half or less than you do, would her taking you out to a KFC or BK acceptable if you are going to a more elevated restaurant when you take her out? Is she feeling overwhelmed by her finances? I'm leaning towards NTA, but I need to know what your expectations of her financial output are too. Be sure. Info. Have you been pressuring her to go out and do things beyond her means? If she wants to stay home a lot or go on walks, do you encourage you both to go out to a club and make her pay half? If so, a very mild YTA. Otherwise, NTA. Going against the grain here, but as someone in a 30-year marriage, I see things differently. One of the things that initially attracted to my husband was that he was generous. Not just with me but with everyone. He wasn't stupid with his money, but he also wasn't a cheapskate. Being a cheapskate is very unattractive. That said, she is not entitled to your money, and you can do whatever you want with it. That's your right, but if I made significantly more than my man or woman, I would pay more than half. Just because you have a right to do something doesn't mean that it's the right thing to do. You look at her as greedy. I look at you as stingy. You say everything is good with you too except this money issue. Is she minimum wage? If so, then she will never have enough money. You don't have much disposable income? Is that because you don't control your spending? If the only problem you two have is unequal finances, then see if she is willing to find a higher paying job. Otherwise, with you being the only one with disposable income, your choices are to leave, pay, or never go out where it costs money. I'm going to get crucified for this. Sigh. Here goes. YTA. Here's why. Her perspective is that I know her wages aren't sufficient to pay her bills, yet I still allow her to pay for things. We've been equal in the relationship so far, paying for activities, meals out, etc. She felt I should be paying out more as my base wage is significantly higher. That part makes sense. Being equal in a relationship doesn't mean she pays the same you do. It means she contributes equally. Okay. So hypothetically, let's say she's earning $100 a week and spends $10. If you're earning $1,000 per week and spend $10 towards your dates, outings, etc., it's not equal in any way. And most people here are missing this huge point. She's not asking you to pay more, she's asking you to match her percentage of spending in the relationship. And that's perfectly fair. My husband made over 3x when we met. It was pretty obvious he was in a high-paid position and I was not. He paid for all meals and outings when we were dating. 50-50 would have been a red flag for me, especially given his position. Based on that, I can see where she is coming from. However, he was very comfortable and didn't have any issues with disposable income. My company and value I added was an offset for him spending extra. Maybe you should talk with her about your budget or financial philosophy to make sure you're compatible. For example, I went on one date with a guy who was set on early retirement. I would expect a lot less disposable income from him due to his goals. Going against the grain here, but I actually think people should contribute relative to their earnings. FYI, I'm a female primary earner.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.